The man of truth, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the Caliph of Rasul. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah, wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Noorallah. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, welcome to this wonderful silsila where we will inshallah ta'ala discuss many informative things about our deen and about a great Sahabi. Inshallah ta'ala, stay with us to learn more about him, who he is, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, at the beginning of this silsila, please try to make as many good intentions as possible to gain maximum thawab. For example, I will listen to this silsila for the pleasure of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, for seeking the knowledge and ilm of deen. I will note down all the important points and I will try to practice upon them. I will try to encourage them to my family members, my spouse, my children, and in my society. In this manner, try to make as many good intentions to gain maximum rewards. Our Shaykh al-Tariqat, Amir Ahl Sunnat, the founder of Dawat Islami, Hazrat Allama Maulana Abu Bilal Muhammad Ilyas Attar Qadri Razvi Ziyai, Damad Barakatuhum al-Aliyah, has narrated a very beautiful hadith regarding the blessings of reciting durood and salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. This is mentioned in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, in the beautiful book Miraculous Wonders of Farooq Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. The great companion of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the role model for judiciary, Amirul Mu'mineen, the commander, the leader of the believers, Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, has stated, Inna du'a'a mawqufun bayna as-sama'i wal-ard, لا يسعد منه شيء حتى تصلي على نبيك صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم. Subhanallah. This means that indeed, verily, dua remains suspended between the earth and the sky, and nothing of it goes upwards. That is, the dua is not acknowledged until you recite salat and durood upon your beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Salatu wa salaman alayka ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Therefore, dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, try to recite as much durood and salawat as you possibly can to gain maximum benefits. As is mentioned from this beautiful narration, that we all make dua to Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, and we should and we must include at least one durood and salat upon Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam if we want our du'as to be acknowledged by Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. On page 74 of the beautiful book Karamat Sahaba, the 346 page publication of Maktabat al-Madina, which is the publishing department of Dawat Islami, Maulana Abdul Mustafa Ardami, alayhi rahmatullahi al-Qawi, has mentioned that Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who was the second Khalifa of Islam, the second successor of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, when Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu sent Sayyidina Sariya radiyallahu ta'ala anhu towards the land of Nahawand for jihad, to engage in encountering the enemies of Islam on the battlefield, designating him as the commander-in-chief. When Sayyidina Sariya radiallahu ta'ala anhu was at war with the disbelievers, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu suddenly ordered, whilst delivering the khutbah, the sermon at the holy pulpit of Masjid al-Nabawi, and he said, Ya Sariyatul Jabal, that is, O Sariya, turn your back towards the mountain. The people present in the masjid, they were amazed, because Sayyidina Sariya radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was sent for jihad hundreds of miles away at the land of Nahawan. Then why and how did Amirul Mu'mineen radiyallahu ta'ala anhu call him today? They were wondering. The confusion was removed when the envoy of Sayyidina Sariya radiyallahu ta'ala anhu came and reported that while confronting the disbelievers on the battlefield, when the signs of defeat were obvious to us, there was a voice which was heard, O Sariya, turn your back towards the mountain. Sayyidina Sariya radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, Lo, this is the voice of Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Then he, Sayyidina Sariya radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, immediately ordered the army to be rearranged by turning their back towards the mountain. Thereafter, the Muslims re-attacked the disbelievers violently. At once, the battle turns, and after a while, the Islamic army crushed the enemy's army. The unbelievers had no option but to flee from the battlefield. The Islamic army hoisted the victory flag. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, by virtue of this miraculous wonder exhibited and showed by Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, we can derive several Madani pearls of knowledge and wisdom. Amirul Mu'mineen, the leader and commander of the believers, the second successor of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, observed the battlefield of Nahawan and watched its situation, though he was hundreds of miles away, and then advised the strategic solution of the difficulties to the commander-in-chief of the Islamic forces. By this we come to know that one should never consider the power of hearing and seeing of Allah Azza wa Jal, His beloveds, equal to that of the ordinary people. Rather, it should be believed that Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed tremendous power, in fact, tremendous power of seeing and listening to His beloved bondmen. And the vigor of their eyes, their ears, and other organs is so matchless and incomparable, and they exhibit such miraculous wonders that can be called nothing but karamah. Furthermore, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, his blessed voice reached hundreds of miles away at the place of Nahawan, and all the troops, they heard his voice. He was seated in the blessed masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in Medina Sharif. Zadahullahu sharafa wa ta'zima. Also we come to know that by virtue of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, a memorable victory was bestowed upon the Muslims by Allah Azza wa Jal in that battle. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless him and forgive us without accountability for his sake. Ameen. Bijahin Nabiyil Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, his patronymic or his kunya is Abu Hafs, and his title is al-Farooq al-Azam. According to a narration, in the 6th year of the proclamation of Nubuwah, of prophethood, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was the 40th person to embrace Islam. In fact, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu embraced Islam by virtue of the dua, of the supplication made by the beloved and blessed Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam in his favor. Subhanallah. By him accepting Islam, the Muslims became very, very pleased, and they received such a great support that the beloved and blessed Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam then offered salah openly with jama'ah, with congregation, with the Muslims inside the sacred Haram. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu remained engaged in Islamic expeditions against the wicked disbelievers with his splendid efforts. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu contributed in all Islamic campaigns and in all strategic decisions of war and peace headed by Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam as a faithful minister and comrade. The first Khalifa of Islam, the first successor of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, nominated Sayyidina Farooq Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu as the Caliph, as the Khalifa after him. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu executed all the responsibilities of his Khilafah marvelously and proved to be the worthy successor of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam. One of the wicked and evil disbelievers named Abu Lulu Firoz, who was in fact a fire worshipper, he attacked Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu with a dagger during Salatul Fajr. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu succumbed to the fatal injury and received the honor of martyrdom, shahada, on the 3rd day of the attack. At the time of his death, his blessed age was 63 years old. Sayyidina Suhaib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu performed his funeral salah, the janazah salah, on Sunday, the 1st of Muharram al-Haram, 24 Hijri. This great companion, this great Sahabi of the great Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam was buried beside Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who had been resting beside none other than the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless them and forgive us without any accountability for their sake. Ameen. Bijahin Nabiyyil Ameen sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu both were bestowed with distinguished nearness to the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam in their worldly life as well as after their death. Therefore, Shah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has stated many beautiful narrations, rather many beautiful ash'ar and couplets in their favor as well. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. After Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the most eminent of all the Sahaba-e-Kiram, of all the companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is a paragon of excellence and miraculous wonders. In addition to other special attributes, Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal exhibited several wonders through Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, thus distinguishing him from his peers. Since the Prophet's era to the present times, there has been no disagreement among the true believers, the mu'mineen, regarding the validity of karama, which is a miraculous wonder. All have been of the unanimous opinion that the wonders exhibited by the companions, that is Sahaba-e-Kiram alayhim ridwan, of the Prophet and the awliya, the friends of Allah Azza wa Jal, are indeed true. The manifestation of wonders by the awliya Allah, the friends of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, the saints of Islam, has taken place in all ages, and the same will continue till the day of resurrection, inshallah Azza wa Jal. Now, inshallah ta'ala, some more wonders exhibited by Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu will be mentioned. But first, read the definition or listen to the definition of what a karama is. On page 58 of the world-renowned book, Bahari Shariat, Volume 1, the 1250-page publication of Maktabatul Madina, which is the publishing department of Dawud Islami, Sadr Sharia, Badr Tariqa, Allama Maulana Mufti Muhammad Amjad Ali A'zami, alayhi rahmatullahi al-qawi, has stated that a karama is a supernatural activity manifested from a waliullah, from a wali. This is called a karama. Sallu ala al-habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Our pious predecessors, the ulama-kiram, the Islamic scholars, rahimahumullah ta'ala, they are unanimous on this point that the honorable companions, the Sahaba-e-Kiram alayhim ridwan of the beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, they are the most eminent amongst the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal. As for other awliya-kiram, rahimahumullah salam, however high rank of wilayah, of sainthood that they may acquire, they can never ever reach the level of wilayah and sainthood that a companion, a sahabi radiyallahu ta'ala an, of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam possesses. Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed such an elevated status to the companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum of Mustafa Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and has bestowed such magnificent marvels and excellence upon these blessed luminaries that cannot be expected for other awliya Allah. Indeed, there is no doubt that the wonders exhibited by the blessed Sahaba-e-Kiram alayhimur ridwan have not been reported in a great number as compared to that of other awliya-kiram rahimahumullah salam. One must realize that the abundance of wonders is not the basis of superiority of wilayah, of sainthood, because wilayah, sainthood, actually is the name of qurb and nearness to Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. The more a person possesses this divine nearness to Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, the higher will be his rank of friendship with Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. The companions alayhimu ridwan, the Sahaba-e-Kiram alayhimu ridwan, indeed they were bestowed with exclusive attributes. They were bestowed with exclusive attributes by virtue of the company of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Just by the suhbah and the company that they had with the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, they were bestowed with these and many other exclusive attributes by this virtue. This is why the nearness and the qurb and proximity possessed by these holy people in the court of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal cannot be availed, indeed, cannot be availed by other awliya-kiram, rahimahumullah salam. Although the events of wonders related to the Prophet's companions, alayhim ridwan, are less in number, yet their rank of wilayah and sainthood is indeed higher than that of all other awliya-kiram, rahimahumullah salam. Sallu ala al-habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, indeed, Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu possesses a very great status and rank in the court of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. On pages 56 and 57 of the famous book Sawanih Karbala, which is a 192-page publication of Maktabatul Madina, the publishing department of Dawud Islami, Sadr al-Afadil, Allama Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Na'imuddin Muradabadi, alayhi rahmatullahi al-Hadi, has mentioned an event, a beautiful incident. He says, when Egypt, Misr, when Egypt was conquered, one day the people of Egypt requested Sayyidina Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, "O our chief, there is a ritual regarding our river Nile, that it does not keep on flowing steadily until we perform this ritual." He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu asked, "What ritual is this? What is that?" And they replied, "We take a pure virgin girl from her parents, we decorate and beautify her with an elegant dress and fine jewelry, and then we hurl her into the river Nile, we throw her into the river Nile." Sayyidina Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, "This cannot be done in Islam, and Islam abolishes such ancient, nonsensible rituals." Thus, this ritual was abandoned. Now the flow of the river Nile became slower and slower. Ultimately, the people intended to migrate from this place. Noticing this, Sayyidina Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu wrote down the entire situation, and he sent it to the second Khalifa of Islam, Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. In his reply, the Khalif wrote, "You did right. Surely Islam eradicates these types of rituals. There is an epistle, a message with this letter of mine. Put it into the river Nile." Now when this letter reached Sayyidina Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and he took out that message, that epistle from the letter, he found that it was written in it by Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that, "O river Nile, do not flow if you flow of your own will, of your own accord. And if Allah Azza wa Jal makes you flow, I supplicate and make dua to Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal to make you flow." That is, to continue flowing. Sayyidina Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu put that epistle, that message, that letter into the river Nile. Within a night, the water level rose by 16 yards, and that ritual got completely abolished in Egypt. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, one comes to know from this event that the authority of Sayyidina Umar al-Farooq al-Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was prevailing even over the river's waters, and the rivers were also under his command, also under his subjugation, by virtue of the purity of Iman, of faith of Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who acquired that from the wonderful company and suhbah of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, the people of Misr, the people of Egypt received deliverance from this wicked and bad custom. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear Islamic brothers, indeed, from this many lessons can be learned. One can indeed know, as mentioned, that the authority of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu as the second Khalifa of Islam was not only upon the people, upon the Muslimin, the believers, but also amongst those things which were in the lands as well, like the river waters, that they obeyed his command. And this was received by him, this command, this authority, this power, indeed by Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, but by virtue of the purity of Iman. And how did he receive this? By the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, who guided him through Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his dua in favor of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu embraced Islam. And look what a great Khalifa he was, being the second successor of Islam. In fact, the second successor of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. That the kingdom of Islam, the empires of Islam spread far and wide by his most just ruling. May Allah Azza wa Jal, for the sake of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, bless us with enthusiasm to follow upon the sunnah of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless us with true love for Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, for true love for all Sahaba-e-Kiram alayhim ridwan and all awliya Allah. And may we follow in their footsteps. Ameen. Bijahin Nabiyil Ameen sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
The man of truth, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the Caliph of Rasul, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq.